In case you missed it, this week on It's a Wonderful Podcast, we had a full week of shows. On Monday, we had a brand new episode of Morgan Hasn't Seen TV, Discovering Dawson's Creek, where we got into Season 4, Episode 17, Admissions, and Episode 18, Eastern Standard Time. We get into our characters' college futures, and where that leaves Pacey, potential end to the Gretchen-Dawson relationship, and finally some interesting storylines for Jen. So I hope you'll check out this week's episode of Morgan Hasn't Seen TV, Discovering Dawson's Creek, which is currently alternating every week with Palling with Peacemaker, and find new episodes of Morgan Hasn't Seen TV every Monday on the It's a Wonderful Podcast YouTube channel and podcast feed. Then on Tuesday, we had part 1 of our bonus Q&A episode, where we're sharing all of the answers to our weekly December podcast questions. Got a ton of awesome answers for you guys, so on top of sharing our own in this part 1, we're also sharing all of the answers we got on TikTok. Then on Wednesday, we had a brand new episode of Morgan Hasn't Seen, where we kicked off our novel idea series talking best-selling novel adaptations with 1988's Beaches. We get into Morgan's awareness of this film and its popular song, its depiction of female friendships, its tearjerker ability, and more. So I hope you'll check out this week's episode of Morgan Hasn't Seen, Talking Beaches, and find new episodes of Morgan Hasn't Seen every Wednesday on the It's a Wonderful Podcast feed. Then on Thursday, we had part 2 of our bonus Q&A episode, sharing your answers to our December podcast questions from all other platforms. And on Friday, we had a brand new episode of our Classic Films podcast, It's a Wonderful Podcast, where we continued our Pre-Code Hollywood series with Babyface. We get into this 1933's depiction of a woman using her feminine wiles to get what she wants, the dark aspects it was allowed to depict, and its featuring of a Black female side character. We hope you'll check out this week's episode of our Classic Films podcast, Talking Babyface, and find new episodes of It's a Wonderful Podcast every Friday on the It's a Wonderful Podcast feed. Coming up next week, on Monday, we'll have a brand new episode with Morgan Hasn't Seen TV, Palling with Peacemaker, as we get into episode 5, Back to the Suture, and episode 6, Ignorance is Chris. Then on Wednesday, we'll have a brand new episode of Morgan Hasn't Seen, continuing our novel idea series with The Bone Collector. And on Friday, we'll have a brand new episode of the Classic Films podcast, It's a Wonderful Podcast, continuing talking Pre-Code Hollywood with The Black Cat. And as this most recent episode of It's a Wonderful Podcast, Talking Babyface, was our 400th episode, stay tuned sometime next week for a bonus 400th celebration episode, where we'll be talking our favorites at 400. It was a jam-packed week, so I hope you'll check out everything we had going on, and we'll see you next week for more.